Hello everyone, Tim Game here, and today I have the pleasure to bring you another The Last of Us video. Now today's video is going to be the first in what hopefully turns out to be a long series of multiplayer class guides, and as you can see up in the background is the first class guide that I'm going to run you through. Now this one I have decided to call the Support Slayer, and I'm going to go into why I've decided to call it that in a little bit, but before I do that I'm just going to run you through the basic outlines of the class. Now this class has a 9mm pistol setup, a semi-auto rifle, it has First Aid Training 2, Sharpshooter 1 and Collector 1, and all of that costs 11 loadout points. Now The Last of Us is a little bit unusual in that in this game you actually gain more loadout points as you rank up, so the more times you play you can actually get classes which are slightly better than the ones you could get before. So if you come into the game straight away and you can't select this class, that's the reason why. But if you keep playing you can unlock the more loadout points and eventually get this class working, and I have to say this is the class which I've had the most success with so far. And this gameplay is a really good game to showcase this class off and how it works. I think the final score is something like 12-0, so I get 12 downs, 7 executions, no deaths, and I think I get either 1 or 2 revives. So it's a very good game, and it's a great indication of how to use this class effectively. But now that I've given you a brief overview, let's go into a little bit more detail. Firstly, the weapon selection. Now I really like the semi-auto in this. It's pretty much a 3-bullet kill most of the time. You know, occasionally you're going to need 4 or 5 to bring a guy down, but the semi-auto can drop a guy very nicely in 3 shots. And the great thing with this weapon is it has, you know, enough damage to be good at close range, but as you can see here, as long as you manage your fire rate, you can be very accurate up to extreme ranges with this weapon. So weapons like this, very versatile weapons, are good when you're not sure about the map you're on or the game mode, because you're not sure about the map layout, so you're going to get surprised, you're going to get gunfights from unusual ranges and unusual locations, and having a nice versatile weapon you can rely on is very important in this situation, and the semi-auto rifle certainly falls into that category. You can add the semi-auto to your class for 2 points. I chose not to put the silencer on for this class. You know, the silencer has limited utility. It's only really if you're going to do a flanking class. The whole point of this particular class layout is to stick with your teammates and to overwhelm people with rate of fire, so the silencer isn't particularly useful on this one, and by saving those extra 2 loadout points we can get some interesting perks in the future. But let's move on to the secondary weapon choice, which is the 9mm pistol, and the 9mm pistol is another very versatile weapon. You know, obviously it's a pistol, its primary usage is close range, but unlike the revolver, which is the other free choice in that secondary weapon slot, I find that the 9mm is pretty effective up to medium and sometimes even long range. And I think there's a couple of examples in this game here when I run out of semi-auto weapon and find a guy at mid-range with my 9mm and do very good damage with him. So once again, the 9mm is a nice versatile weapon that enables you to have a reliable fallback if your supply of semi-auto ammo runs low. So that's the one I select in the secondary slot for free. There's no loadout points cost on that, which is really useful, and that enables us to spend the vast majority of our 11 loadout points that this class takes on the perks. Now the first perk I've decided to go for is First Aid Training Level 2. Now this comes with a couple of benefits. The first one is that it enables you to use medkits 75% faster, and this is a fairly useful trait because if you're running away from an enemy and you're badly hurt and you know he's pursuing you but you don't want to challenge because you've only got a tiny smidgen of health left, you can very quickly use that medikit to heal you up and then turn and face him, surprise him that you've got full health, and often turn gunfights in your favour. So that's a very useful benefit in itself. However, the primary usage of this perk, as you can see right here, is the fact that if you hold X when in close proximity to a wounded teammate, you can actually heal him, and the rate of heal is fairly slow. It's only 10 health every 2 seconds, but the great thing about this is as long as you're not in the midst of a gunfight, you can very easily heal a teammate to full health and top him up when he doesn't have any medkits on him, and this is the only perk that can do this. So First Aid Training is very useful, especially in this support role that we're doing here. Now the one problem this perk has is you cannot use it on yourself, you can only use it on teammates. So what that means is you're either going to have to have a teammate run the perk as well so he can heal you and you can heal each other up, or alternatively you've got to be moving around to those supply crates to pick up those medkits to keep you in the fight. So That's the one thing you've got to be a little bit careful about. But the great thing about the first aid training too as well is it actually gives you extra supply, and the supply is the key thing for keeping your clan alive. So you can earn supply through healing a teammate. So you're not even contributing to a gunfight at all, and you're still earning vital supply to keep your clan alive and to try and go for as long as you can without letting them all die and get into those later weeks of the challenge. So first aid training is a very, very good perk and key to the support part of this class. But moving on a little bit here to the Slayer part of the class. The next perk I've chosen for this one is Sharpshooter Level 1. Now, Sharpshooter Level 1 is a perk designed specifically for your long weapons. So this perk benefits weapons like the semi-auto, the burst rifle, and all of the longer range weapons. So this won't benefit your pistol at all, but the benefit that it does give to your assault rifle is pretty substantial. Even the level 1 perk gives you a 25% reduction in scope sway and a 20% reduction in damage wobble when you're using your long weapon. So this increases the semi-auto's ability to be effective at longer ranges, and this is very, very useful, especially on a map like Lakeside, because Lakeside is a map that has quite a few long range sight lines, and there are several roofs you can get on the top of and look down the main street, or the right hand side if you're looking up the hill. That's very, very open. There's only a few little bits of cover, so if you get set up in a nice position with your semi-auto rifle, you can cover a long area of the map, and you can do it very, very effectively with this perk. And the great thing about it as well, it only costs 2 loadout points, so that's not a lot of points for quite a big benefit. So this enables you to be much more effective at those medium to long ranges, and that's absolutely vital in a map like Lakeside, because you can take an enemy down that doesn't run this perk very, very easily. And just a quick little mention here, you can see just how effective the pistol is over long range. I took that guy out from absolutely miles away with a 9mm, so that's a really, really good example of just how versatile that weapon is. But slight distractions out the way, let's move on to the third and final selection in this class. And what I've gone for is Collector 1. And what this enables you to do is increase the number of parts you collect in-game by 10%. And 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider just how many things give you parts in this class, you earn parts for everything you do in gunfights. So if you mark enemies, shoot them, execute them, get an assist, get a down, you earn parts for that. But additionally, because you've got that first aid training 2 on, every time you heal a teammate you earn parts. So this collector bonus is very, very useful because it enables you to earn parts a lot more quickly than your opponents. And the great thing about this is it enables you to upgrade your weapons much faster, and this is where the second part of the Slayer side comes in. So not only have you got the ability to have much more accurate gunfire due to the Sharpshooter perk, the Collector perk enables you to earn those parts much more quickly, so every single kill is going to pay off in a much bigger way, enabling you to buy your upgraded weapons much more quickly. And The Last of Us multiplayer is all about getting those upgraded weapons in as fast as possible, because the difference between a level 2 semi-auto and a basic semi-auto is a big, big difference. And if you can get those upgrades in earlier, you're going to have a much, much bigger advantage over the opposition than I think people realise. So this is a great class for not only picking enemies off and dominating, but also keeping your teammates in the fight. And all of the time you're doing this, you're earning more points than you otherwise would. So it's a very, very nicely balanced class. It's very, very good for a whole range of play styles. And when you're taking your first steps in a new game, especially a game like The Last of Us, which is pretty unforgiving in multiplayer, there's a lot of things that can kill you very, very quickly. And if you're inexperienced and you don't know how to play the game, you don't know the maps, having a class like this to fall back on is very, very useful, because it enables you to keep yourself useful even if you're not having a particularly good game. So you might be dying a lot, you might be feeding the opposition, but your ability to heal teammates and keep them in the fight, that's worth 3 or 4 downs around, because a guy might just have one smidgen of health left, he has no med packs, there are no supply crates near him. If an enemy sees him, he's dead, but then you come in, you heal him to full health, and all of a sudden he's a useful team member again. So it really does stop your teammates from getting downed a lot. It earns you so many points through doing that, and then once you've earned those points, you can spend them on your better weapons, and that's when Sharpshooter comes in and you can really press home advantage. So not only is this a class which is very, very easy to use and very, very, very versatile. It offers the option to very quickly snowball and get yourself that big lead and those big games. And this game's a really, really nice example of that. Like I said earlier, the final score in this match is 12 downs, 7 executions, no deaths, and I think it's 1 revive. So that's a very, very nice team game, because although I've only got 1 revive, the fact that I've healed up so many teammates means there's not really been that many opportunities to revive, because the team aren't going down a lot. And you can see from the score here, we have a very, very comfortable lead, and we end up winning the game nice and easily. So guys, thanks for watching the video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something useful, and as always, have a great